Most authors struggle to make money from their books. Most speakers struggle to fill their calendar with opportunities to be paid. In this video, I'm going to show you how to go from book to booked. My name is Kelfer. I'm a 4-time best-selling author, and I've used my books to build multiple successful speaking businesses, coaching businesses, and a book publishing company, which is the business I currently run today, where we help people just like you write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book so they can get more speaking gigs, boost their visibility, and sign more clients. I'm going to give you right now the 5 steps to go from book to booked. And this is you if you are already a speaker. This is you if you want to be a speaker. This is for you if you are an author. This is for you if you want to be an author. Ultimately, if you want to monetize your knowledge, this is the video for you. Let's get into it. So step number 1 of 5 is this. If you want to go from book to booked, well, you got to have a book. So step number 1 is to write a high quality book that is based on the topic you want to speak on. So step number 1 within this is you need to write a high quality book. You need to use this book to position yourself as an expert. The more niche, the better it is a lot of the times. For example, if you want to speak in the real estate market, you can write a general real estate book, or you can write a book on short-term rentals or for first-time home buyers, or to build a high-performing real estate team. Whatever it may be, focus in on what you want to speak about, okay? And if you want to speak on multiple topics, then make sure that the chapters of your book are those specific topics. When you are writing this high-quality book, if you are already a speaker, take your best stories, take your best material, take the things you already know that hit, and use that as foundational content in your book. If you want to be a speaker and you're using the book first, then take the book and make sure you create it knowing that you'll pull this content to make that into your keynote topics. I'll give you a couple of examples here. My first book was called Elevate Beyond. It was a millennial's guide to standing out in the job market. And that book was broken up into a few different chapters. Each one of those chapters became keynotes and workshops that I ended up doing for colleges around the country. My second book was Elevate Your Network. My number 1 most requested topic was networking, so I made a second book that was only on relationship building, and that book got me my first international gig in China, where it was a 10-day tour, all expenses paid, and I got paid on top of that in my mid-20s. Dream trip. Here's how you're going to do this. And again, I'm trying to just be as concrete and give you what you need to know to be very successful doing this. So there are 4 things you want to include in this book. Number 1 is your story. We need to build trust and we need to build relatability. We need people to feel like they know us. We need people to feel like they can imagine us speaking to their audience or speaking at their event. The second thing you need to include in your book is expertise. You need to show that you're actually knowledgeable on your topic. We want to show the proof. We want to show our transformation. We want to show credibility that we are an expert on this topic, and there's a no-brainer that we would be great to speak on their stage. The third thing you need to include is your methodology. What is your process? What is your 6-step method? What is your A to Z? What are the things that the reader needs to learn in order for them to improve, get better, achieve their goals? And then the fourth thing that you want to include in your book is your style. Make sure to add your personality. In my books, I say, let's go. Why? Because I want people to see that that's my style, because then they can envision me coming to their event. This is how I shortcut a lot of lines. If you don't have a book, an event host is going to need to look at all these other materials. But when I do have a book, they're going to spend 2 hours with me, feeling like they get to know me, feeling like they know my style. And they're going to be like, wow, his content's good. His personality's good. If he's half this in real life, this is perfect for our audience. The next step. That was just step 1. All right. This topic gets me fired up, and I hope that you can take some notes. I hope that you can actually benefit a lot from this. So the next step is, once you have the book, we need to get the book into the right hands. And so you are either going to give the book or you are going to sell the book. I am a huge proponent of doing both, but here's what's most important. How do you get the book into the hands of the people who can actually hire you the fastest? Sure, it may be you sell the book, you run social campaigns, it's available where people can buy books. That's amazing. Congratulations. But what I really love to do is I like to identify the key players and give them a book. So here's what I do. Identify the key players of people who have decision-making ability. So Who are the people deciding the speakers? Who are the event planners? And then the third bucket, counterintuitive, is who are the other speakers that compete for similar gigs or who have a complementary message to you? This is so powerful. The reason I like doing both parties is because, I'll give you an example. Other speakers might get double booked and they need someone to refer. So if you speak on a similar topic as them, they might be like, hey, I'm not available, but Jake is. If it's a complimentary speaker, they might be like, hey, we're looking for a speaker all in this topic. Who do you know? Boom, they think of you. I've gotten so many gigs because of my relationships with other speakers referring me because they want to help the event host fill up the slots with people they like, and then it can be really fun. I'll never forget one of my now really good friends. He was doing a gig and they needed one other person. And he was like, I know just the guy. He introduced them to me and it ended up being a multiple year speaking engagement. Awesome. Okay. So now buying and giving the book, getting it in the right hands. You're going to identify the key players. You're going to identify the key events. Are you doing youth, associations, corporations? What are the events that are in your niche based on the book that you wrote that you are most effective to speak to? Okay. Then you are going to make sure the book gets into these people's hands. You'll give them. You'll send them the real copy. You'll send them the paperback copy. You'll send them the digital copy. You'll donate to that actual event. You'll put it in their swag bags. All right. Lead with the value. And of course, you'll sell your book online so people can see that you really actually sell this book. So that's how you're going to give or sell the book into the right hands. Step number 3 is you are going to need to get the gig. So once somebody's heard of you, once somebody has your book, now it's time to foster the relationship and to really create the follow-up needed to generate the opportunities. Because here's what I learned. Just because you want to speak tomorrow and your schedule's open, it does not mean that the events you want to speak at are looking for a speaker tomorrow. Many events book their speakers out 3, 6, 9, 12 months in advance. And so what we need to do is we need to get in front of these people. We need to foster the relationship so that we can be considered for the next upcoming opening. And so one of the things that I love to do, and this is a major tip that I think authors really can benefit from, is when you're writing your book, start trying to book your speeches in advance, because use the book. Hey, my debut book's coming out this fall. I saw you're doing an event. I'd love to speak at it. Now it's 6-8 months out, but you're already working on your book. Boom, it'll be ready by the time that you are actually doing the keynote speech. So this is how you can actually book gigs in advance. But also what you want to do is you want to follow up with people. Now, not in the obnoxious way. Hey, just checking in. Do you need a speaker? Instead, follow up with intention. And a book gives you a variety of different ways to follow up, especially in that first month. Let me give an example here. You give this person a book. So now they're thinking of you. You have name recognition. You've now entered the chat. And then a week goes by. Hey, I just want to confirm. Did you get the book I sent you? Great. I got the book. Amazing. Awesome. You just are staying top of mind. That's all we're trying to do. Then 2 weeks go by. Hey, what'd you think of the book? I'd love to hear. Did you enjoy it? Oh, yes, Jake. I absolutely loved the book. I love this. Amazing. Or they might say, no, I haven't gotten to it. No problem. I'll touch base in a little bit. I'm excited to hear what you think. 2 more weeks go by. If they said they loved it. Hey, by the way, did you know I do a talk on this? You could see it right here. Or hey, I just did a talk on that. Here's a 5-minute clip. Boom. Now you're transitioning the book. They've loved it. They've read it. They're thinking about you into that. And that's how you're going to get the gig. So an intentional follow-up approach. The next part to that is you want to make sure you have the right sales material. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that this is all you need. I can tell you it will definitely help, but you also want to make sure, do you have your speaker website and author website? Are you doing social media? Do you have testimonials? Do you have a one-pager? Do you have your demo reel? Just the basic things that everybody needs, right? Now, what's really cool is when you have a book, it can trump all of this material. And I'll give you an example of this. I was at a conference and I brought my books and I was doing just a mini little booth workshop type of thing. And what I did though is everybody there was a decision maker. So I made sure that everybody there got a copy of my book. And I made sure to network with them and just communicate with them. What happened after that was I had a handful of people say, hey, Jake, I really loved your book. We definitely want to hire you for our next event. And I was like, this is cool. Because everybody else who was a speaker was like, Jake, you're not going to get booked for multiple years in these gigs. Like, they already have speakers. They got to put you into the cycle. They need to see you live before they're going to book you. And because I gave them a really great book that showcased my personality, they were like, oh, this person's the person we need. And then I just followed up, and then I got those gigs. And those gigs range from $2,000 to $5,000 on average in the high school and college market that I was doing at the time. The next thing that you need to do when you are securing the gig is be willing to negotiate. What I mean by this is not just say, hey, I'm going to lower all my prices, but make sure you have a good offer. You're not just saying, oh, I speak. What's your offer? What's the experience you're creating? How many keynotes are you going to do? How many workshops are you going to do? How long are they going to be? Does it come with books? What's really amazing is now you can create an offer, create an experience that separates you from the other person who says, I'll just do a 1 hour keynote. No, I'll do a 1 hour keynote. I'll also do a pre-event dinner for the event host where we'll do a mini workshop. I'll include 50 copies of my book for the first 50 people who show up, or however you see fit. You can get creative with your offer. It makes it more valuable to them, and it showcases that you are there to create and curate the experience. The next piece is, once you've secured the gig, step 4 of this process is to actually crush the gig. If you're not good, you could get a lot of first gigs, but you won't get more gigs than that. So what you want to do is, in order to crush the gig, is you want to make sure that you deliver a high quality talk. And to be honest, a lot of the speaking world has bad speakers, but a lot of the speaking world has great speakers. And so not only do you want to deliver an excellent talk, but you want to deliver an excellent experience. Are you communicating and responding with them on time? Are you showing up on time? Are you honoring the amount of time you have on the speaker slot? If they give you 30 minutes, speak for 30 minutes and get off the stage. Don't go for 45 and disrespect that. Make yourself easy to hire again. And that may seem like common sense, but these are the little things that can help you separate yourself. And for me, that was one of the ways I was able to get booked by events over and over again. So if I did a 5K event, they would book me the next year or the year after, or every 4 years if it was a high school that wanted to recycle their speakers. And then they would refer you because they're like, oh, he was so easy to work with. Well, event coordinators, planners, decision makers, they just talk to each other. Hey, did you work with him? Did you like him? If they say yes, you're going to get so many more gigs because they all just exchange and talk to each other. And that's what I have found to be true. So you want to crush the gigs. You use the story and the material from your book because you know it's your best stuff. And then you deliver a high quality experience. One of my first speaking gigs ever, I used my book and I turned my book into 4 different workshops that I did over the course of 2 days. I gave each workshop multiple times. But the beautiful thing about it was I had content that I know people wanted to hear. And so it made me very confident when I was giving these early speeches because I knew the content was good. It was just about honing in my skill set as an actual presenter. Now the last part, and this is the part where you create the cycle, okay? This is where you want to get referrals and testimonials. So now you've crushed the gig. You've given them a great experience. Now we want to make it easy for us to get rebooked or booked by somebody else. And so what you do is you're going to ask the event host after, you're going to give them a big thank you note. You're going to give them a signed copy of your book. You're going to really just finish the experience, but then you're going to do like a post-event recap. And what you're going to want to do is a variety of things. You want to ask for them to give you a video testimonial. At this point, you should have communicated with them for several months. You should have a great rapport with them. You should have met them in person at the event. And then they'll be likely to give you a video testimonial, no problem. I also like to ask for them, and you could do one or all of these things. I also like to ask them to do a post-event survey, whether you do that at the actual event, whether you do it after the event, whether you have a form people could fill out, or whether you're just asking the host for them to include a couple questions on their survey to their audience members. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you can get a couple questions in front of the attendees. And these questions you want to ask, like, what did they love about your talk? Those are going to be used for quick hitter testimonials. You can cut those, you can clip those. And then you also want to ask the attendees, like, who are 3 people that you know that need to hear this message? And what that does is now you can get potential new prospects, clients, companies, events, other schools, etc. Depending on your niche, you can curate this question. And that will help you really get a lot of value from the audience. And then the last thing that I love to do is I always like to ask the host, like, hey, I'm sure you know people that have other events. Like, what are 3 events that you think I would be great to speak at? Or what are who are 3 people that you know that also book speakers similar to this topic? And now they're going to essentially tee you up with a potential introduction or the name of someone who's hiring speakers just like you. So this is how you go from book to booked. And if you follow this path, you will be able to create a book that establishes credibility, authority. You will be able to create a book that turns into your material. And then you'll be able to use that material to get speaking gigs. And we didn't even go into it, but when you get speaking gigs, by having a book, you increase your revenue by 10, 20, 30, 40% per gig, which allows you to make more money per experience, which is awesome. So there you have it. This is the 5-step process to go from book to booked, and how you can actually leverage a book to get more speaking gigs that will bring in more revenue and opportunity for you. So if you enjoyed this and you want to get a copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, which is the step-by-step roadmap, how to write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book to grow your business, then go to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. We'll send you a copy anywhere in the world. And then if you want to learn more about actually building out the strategy and create your own book that you can use to build a 6-figure plus speaking business, then go to bigideatobestseller.com/call. We'll walk through your book idea, which idea you should pursue. We'll walk through how to actually add 6 figures of speaking fees and where you can actually add $100,000 of revenue to your business. And then on top of that, we'll lay out the actual path of how you're going to do that in just a few months. So if you want to do that, go to bigideatobestseller.com/call, and you can book a completely free demo to speak with me and my team. So there you have it. This is the 5-step process to go from book to booked.